Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Michael Watson. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Bernadette. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming to my playground today. Yeah. Where about are you, Michael?
I'm in London, England, or London, UK,
Oh, okay. I can hear your accent. How long have you lived there?
all of my life. All of my life.
Oh, okay.
I shouldn't say it like that. I shouldn't say it like that. But yeah, I sometimes I've lived all my life, and I'll go into that. Maybe if we've got time,
Yeah.
I'll go into that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Speaking of, let's jump into it. How long have you lived there? Tell us more about you and your story.
My story goes back to 30 years ago, over 30 years ago,
Mm,
when I was a newly qualified social worker. In fact, I wasn't. Well, I was still new. I was 3 years old, 3 years
mm,
qualified.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I took on a particular case, which
Hmm.
I didn't know what the case would be like. I knew it might be challenging, but I didn't know how challenging it was going to be.
Mm,
But I found that it was a case involved a little 3-year-old girl and her parents.
hmm.
And I very soon found out that I didn't like to go and see the family. It wasn't that I didn't want to see this little girl, but it was that I didn't want to see the parents because the parents detested me and they
Mm,
showed me that they detested me in every opportunity they got. And at that time, I was young, inexperienced, and I liked to be liked. So it was hard. It was a uncomfortable experience, but I didn't have an option because I was the child social worker, so I had to go and see them.
mm,
So yeah, that's just the way it was. Now, picture the scene. It's a glorious summer's day.
hmm.
And that is not a figment of my imagination. We do have one or two glorious summer's days in the UK. About two. We have about
Yeah,
two.
yeah, yeah.
And on nice summer's days, I feel grand. I feel happy. But this
Mm,
particular day, I didn't feel the same. And
mm,
I realized it was because I had to go and see that family.
mhm,
But as I said, I didn't have an option. So I made my way from where I worked. I went to see the family. I went up in a lift because they lived in a high rise block of flats. I
mhm,
got out of the lift and then I went and I knocked on the door. The mother came,
mhm,
sneered at me, and did an about turn and went straight back inside. That is the way she habitually treated me.
mm,
But as I stepped through this threshold, it was just like stepping into a totally different world. You see, outside, the sun was shining, it was bright, it was warm, it
mhm,
was glorious and light.
mm,
Inside this flat, it was dark, it was cold, it was eerie.
mhm,
I felt like I'd stepped in some kind of horror movie.
mm,
The flat itself was a shell. The wallpaper was torn. The carpets were ripped.
mhm,
The floorboards were showing. The place didn't stink exactly, but it didn't smell particularly pleasant.
mhm,
The parents were over one side of the room, huddled together, whispering, not looking at me, ignoring me. When I spoke to them, the best I get is a grunt or a groan. The father never looked at me. The mother would look at me, but she always had a perpetual snarl as if she's just about ready to attack me at any moment.
mm,
The only person who gave me any degree of welcome and attention was this 3-year-old little girl. And she was always in her playpen,
mhm,
holding onto the bars like this.
mhm,
And it always made me think that's a little prison cell, because she's always holding onto the bars and she's always there. Every time I came, that's where she was.
mhm,
What I also remember about this little girl was that she always looked a bit grubby. Her
mm,
blonde hair looked like it needed washing and combing. Her clothes always had stains in them.
mm,
And when I looked at her face, I could always see the tracks of the tears where the tear stains had rolled down her cheeks and were now mingling with the snot in between her nose and her mouth. She just looked like she needed to be picked up, washed off, and given some gentle love and attention. But
mhm,
she never seemed to get it. The other thing I remember about this little girl was that the thing I remember most actually was that she was always looking at me. Her eyes were always focused on me. She wasn't looking at her mum. She wasn't looking at her dad. She wasn't looking at anything else around the flat, just at me. And that never made sense because I knew that even at that stage, the children always look at their parents.
Mm.
They look at their parents because they love their parents. But this little girl was only looking at me. And that was a mystery that I just couldn't fathom.
Mm. Yeah.
One day, bright and early, one morning, it was just an ordinary morning like any other morning, and I was on my way into work. But I was later than usual because there was roadworks, and I was a little bit worried that my manager was going to have a go at me for being late.
Mm.
So when I got into work, my manager's room door was shut. I was pleased. So I made my way to where my desk. I sat down and I started working. About half an hour later, my manager's door opened and she looked out into the office.
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes later, she called me in. I thought, oh, here we go. She's going to have a go at me now.
Mm.
But as I got into her office, she was just sitting there, staring outside the window, as if something was calling her attention outside.
Mm.
We sat in silence for a long, several moments. Eventually, she said to me, while still looking out the window, "You're lucky. Your career's just starting. Mine is at an end. You'll get past this, but I never will."
Mm.
What was she talking about? And that's when she mentioned the little girl's name and told me that she'd been brutally murdered that morning by her father.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And what that meant for me, amongst other things, was that I was going to have to give an account of the work that I'd done and the work that I hadn't done to keep this little girl safe.
Mm-hmm.
And chief amongst the people I'd have to give this account to was the courts.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd never been to court before and I didn't know what to expect. But I knew enough from the way people around me were behaving nervously
Mm.
that it wasn't going to be pleasant. Certainly wasn't going to be a nice walk in the park.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the days and weeks leading up to court, it was like there's this big, dark, heavy cloud hanging over my head, just waiting to come down at me. That's what it felt like. That big, dark, heavy cloud represented court, something I wanted to get away from, something I was desperate to get away from,
Mm-hmm.
but something I knew I wouldn't get away from. I did go to court. I went to the Royal Courts of Justice in London, in the Strand.
Mm-hmm.
Picture a big stone cathedral. That's what it kind of looks like from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got through the electronic security system, the first thing I remember was just how cold it was. It was freezing in there, very cold, because it's a big stone building and loads of different courts in there. So it's a big area.
Mm.
But it wasn't just cold in terms of the temperature. It was cold in terms of the atmosphere because courts aren't pleasant places. They're toxic places. They're full of arguments. They're full of conflict. Eventually, I found my way to the court that I was meant to be in. And when I got there, I was placed in a witness box.
Mm.
Now, if you've ever been placed somewhere by someone in authority over you, maybe you get an idea, you've got an idea how I felt. Because actually, I felt trapped.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be anywhere else, but I didn't have an option. And whilst I was in this witness box that I didn't want to be in, these barristers were asking me all sorts of horrible questions.
Mm-hmm.
These barristers had flipped the script and were making out that I was responsible for this child's death. It was all my fault. If I'd have done this, or if I'd have done that, this child would still be alive. So at a time when I'm traumatized, when I'm feeling guilty, when I'm experiencing loss,
Mm.
when I'm not prepared emotionally, psychologically, or professionally for answering questions, that's the time I'm being asked these horrible, horrible questions that I can't answer. and I don't know how to respond to, and I can't deflect them. But these questions are coming through thick and fast. In fact, they're like darts being hurled across the room. And I'm like this massive dartboard that they can't fail but hit, because I'm a sitting duck. I can't go anywhere. Now, are they hitting me physically? No. Are they hurting me physically? Again, no. But psychologically and emotionally, I'm in the most intense pain. And in fact, I'm in so much pain that I'm in denial. I think I'm in some kind of nightmare. And I'm pinching and kicking myself, hoping I'm going to wake up from this horrible dream. But I'm not waking up. And the pain is continuing.
Yeah.
And at one stage, I'm in so much pain that I find myself looking up and looking around the room, because I think to myself, there's got to be someone here. Someone here must care. Someone here must be able to help me. But as I look around the room, I don't see anyone who seems to have a heart. I don't see anyone who's willing to help me. And I realize at that moment that I'm on my own. No one's come to help me. And as that realization dawns on me, I think of this little girl. And you know what occurs to me at that moment? It occurs to me that she's hoping, begging, pleading, wishing for someone to come and save her. And do you know who she wants to save her? It's none other than me. That's why she's not looking at her mum or her dad. She's not looking at her parents, because she knows they're not going to save her. They're the people who are abusing her. She's looking at me because I'm her one hope. One hope that she'll be saved.
Yeah.
Only I can't save her, because I don't know what her facial expressions, her silent language and silent body language is trying to convey to me. So I wasn't able to save her. And that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Now, there are some similarities between what's going on for her and what's going on for me. We're both trapped in our respective prisons, her in her playpen and me in the witness box. And we're both hoping, begging, pleading, praying that someone's going to come and save us. But we're begging and pleading in vain, because no one's coming to save us. No one was coming to save her, because I was the only person who could potentially have saved her, and I wasn't able to at the time. And no one was going to come and save me, because I'm in the witness box. I'm not meant to be saved. I'm meant to be on my own. I just didn't realize it at the time. But that is where the similarities end. Because what this little girl went through on her own at such a young age was a million times worse than what I experienced. I can only begin to imagine the depth of horror she was exposed to.
Yeah.
But what I can say, without a word of a lie, that what I went through that day, in that court, in that witness box, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy ever.
Yeah.
Barristers kept asking me questions, and all I could do is open my mouth, but no words of wisdom would fall out. I'd just be stuttering and stammering. I don't know how long it went on for. It could have been an hour, could have been 2 hours, it could have been longer than 2 hours. All I can tell you is that when you're in agony, 1 minute feels like a lifetime.
Yeah.
Eventually, the judge looked at me, sneered at me, and just dismissed me. And when that happened, I wanted to run a million miles from court. I never, ever wanted to see the inside of a court ever again. I was done with social work. I didn't want to be a social worker anymore. I was finished with it. But something stopped me. Something unexpected happened at that stage, and something stopped me and said to me, no, Michael, that's not what you're going to do. You are going to go back to court. You're going to go back to court again and again and again until you get good at giving evidence. Do you know why you're going to do that? You're going to do that because what happened to you today, you are never going to allow anybody to do that to you again. And somehow that's exactly what I did. I went back to court again and again and again until I got good at giving evidence. Until I was able to write a book about giving evidence. It was too late to save this little girl. I couldn't save her. But I can save an awful lot of other people from going through even a fraction of what I went through
Yeah.
that day in that court.
Yeah.
Because my attitude had changed. I was no longer expecting anyone to save me. I was prepared to save myself. And in the process, I can save an awful lot of other people who don't know how to defend themselves at court and haven't gone through that horrific experience.
Mm. Yeah.
So I'll stop there for a little while and give you a chance to
Mm.
ask whatever questions you want.
Yeah. Yeah. What a story. Incredible. I have so many questions, but I could listen to you talking and talking because there's such wisdom and healing that you've done. And I can tell through your experiences, you have equipped, you continue to empower people, and you've also grown from your experiences. So thank you so much for sharing. I can only imagine what it's like you went through. I can imagine, but it's hard for me to put myself in your shoes, either at the time or right now as you speak about it. So I appreciate you sharing. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
it's difficult to share. You're welcome.
It's not difficult anymore.
Mm, okay.
There was 30 years in which I never spoke about this.
Mm,
So that's a
yeah.
long time. I don't have that same fear. I don't have the same
Mm,
embarrassment. I don't have the same guilt
yeah.
as I had at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not, and I am a speaker now, so I can speak about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's still what it is. Is I sometimes still get shocked about how emotionally it impacts on me.
Mm,
But no,
yeah.
it's not. It's not difficult for me to share it anymore.
Yeah.
It was for a
Yeah.
long time, which is why I didn't share it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. Are you still a social worker?
I am still a social worker. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay. Here's one thing that most people don't know about me is that I went to school to become a social worker. I kind of got halfway through, got very sick, and just quit and
Oh,
couldn't continue. But
I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But I love people, and I
yeah,
love hearing people uh, from all walks of life, all experiences. So
yeah,
thank you. And that little girl, I went through the foster care system, and social services was involved. So I do see myself in what you shared and what happened. I am so grateful that I was taken away when the abuse was happening. It
yeah,
could have been different. So
yeah.
I see myself in your story and what you went through. And thank you. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so what is your faith like right now in the justice system, where you are based on everything you went through? I've been to court. I don't like it. I try to stay away from it. It is, you're right, it is dark. Some good decisions come from there, but it's not a place of joy all the time.
No, and you know, it's never going to be, and it was never meant to be a
Mm,
place of joy.
yeah.
Um, my faith. That's a good question in the justice system.
Mm,
If I am, if it's a case that I'm involved with, where I am helping someone,
mhm,
um, I have more faith in it
mm,
because I'm experienced and I know what I'm doing. There's no guarantee, but I have more faith in it.
yeah.
I the court system is a brutal system.
Hmm.
It is quite brutal,
Yeah.
and the barristers around, the lawyers, the attorneys, however you call
Hmm.
them in Canada,
Hmm.
are they just want to win their case,
Yeah.
and so they don't think about, I don't believe, or they don't spend a lot of time thinking about how the impact they have on witnesses.
Hmm.
And that impact can be far more powerful and deadly than people realize.
Yeah.
It certainly was for me for a long, long time. Um, I also don't have a great deal of faith in the justice system because as a black person or person of color, I see too much.
Mm,
I see too much every day in things that go on.
yeah.
And even if the system was fairer, because you've got police and you've got society that sees people of color in a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's not a way that I think is fair or just or warranted
Mm-hmm.
with the evidence. But that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's a system that I don't think is. I wouldn't want anyone I loved or care for to go through court.
Mm,
I
yeah.
really wouldn't want that to happen to them.
Yeah. 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 Thank you
So
for sharing.
that's my answer to that question of whether the faith I have in the system. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying there aren't people out there trying to do their best. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm,
But um, is it a system I've got a great deal of faith in? No, I think it's a difficult system, and I think there's a lot of things that go against all people, but particularly
mm.
people of color.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You're right. You're right. And I think you and me and many other people stepping up to have those very difficult conversations based on their experiences and what they see. I think that is a seed of hope that is going to transform tomorrow, that is going to help the next generation. Because so often we see injustice, we don't say anything out of fear of judgment or being outcast or people seeing us differently. And we need more people like you. And I know
Mm.
many other people are watching. They are those people. I want to thank you and I want to thank them. I may not know who them is, but they know who they are because we need voices like ours to speak life into society, into the system, because the system has failed many people. It is not perfect. It is broken and has been broken for a very long time. And it's going to take all of us to rebuild it.
I mean, I think that I think that I'm how can I put it? I am selective. I am
Mm,
strategic about when I speak and when I don't speak.
yeah.
I don't. There's a lot of times I don't have time. I don't have the. That's not, I don't have desire.
Mm,
I won't waste my time on people because I don't. I have not got time to waste on people.
yeah.
I just don't have that time. I
Mhm.
love people. I care for people, but when I can see certain things, I don't waste my time on them
Yeah.
because I know that there's a lot of people that aren't interested in my views and my experiences and people
Mm,
like me and
yeah.
people of color. They're not interested,
Mhm.
so they're not going to get my time because they're not worthy of my time.
Mm,
And because they're not worthy of my time and they're not interested in my time, they continue to be who they are and see the world how they see it.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
hey, I've lived this life for however long it is, and
Mm,
every year I see the things that you hope would be different, but that aren't going to be different
yeah.
because
Yeah.
the people out there want it to be this way, and they don't care. They don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I there's certain things I'm prepared to shout about. There's certain things I'm prepared to die for because
Mm.
there's too much, excuse my language, shit going on. There's too much shit. I haven't got time for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where it is.
Yeah.
I honestly, I have to hold it down. I really have to hold it down for what I really think
Mm,
because that's how much rubbish is going on.
mm,
I've just come away from a it was a diversity and inclusion talks, and it was a really good day. But it was a really good day in so many ways. But it brings up all sorts of things for me. It brings up all sorts of things that I just
Yeah.
want to, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
Mm.
so
Those are fun.
yeah, yeah, mm,
Those are fun to attend. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you for sharing. So do you have one book or many books? What are they
I've got
called?
two.
And
I've got two books,
two? Okay.
but first one is a small book about how to represent yourself in family court. The
Okay.
second book is a book I'm very proud of. Not
Mm,
that I'm not proud of the first book. I'm much more proud of the second book though, which is called Family Court: Giving Evidence in Family Court.
mm,
So it's a book to helping professionals and helping parents and any witnesses who need to go to court to give evidence. It gives them
mhm.
skills and tips and strategies and insights into how to get the best out of the court and go through the court
Yeah,
system and
yeah.
come out okay, you know.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. Where can people find your books?
they can find my books on Amazon.
Okay.
They're both on Amazon.
Hmm.
I do want to write another book. I just started. I haven't got near finishing yet, but yeah,
Hmm.
I think before I think I will write it, but it's just time, you know. I just have to prioritize. I
Yeah.
just have to prioritize.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Have you ever thought of doing something like a podcast or just
Yes,
interviewing people that have been through what you've been through?
I started a podcast about a year or two ago,
Hmm.
but I didn't get the traction that I wanted to get on it.
Mm,
So I had to pay people to because I'm not technically minded. So I had
mm.
to keep paying out a lot of money to get certain things done. And it didn't
Yeah.
seem worth, in the end, it didn't seem worth the while. So what I did instead is that I started my speaking
Mhm.
course, which I'm just
Okay.
coming to the end of.
Yeah.
And the reason I did that was because I wanted to feel, do things like this, like I'm doing right now,
Hmm.
and do things on stages and things, so that I can get my profile up there
Yeah.
and become known. The service I'm offering becomes known.
Yeah.
So, and then I will go back to the podcast, and not just the podcast. I've got something else I want to do.
Yeah.
But um, I basically, and I'm not shy about saying it. I want to have an academy that starts in the UK but goes around the world for
Yeah.
helping people to give evidence at court
Yeah.
to get the
Yeah.
best out of it. So that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's incredible. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Overall, let's say people watching this, they've either been through what you've been through or heard of someone, or they're just curious if they were to be in your situation. What advice would you give to them?
If they were going to court and they had to give evidence, there's so many things. The first thing they need, yeah, let me break it down that way.
Yeah.
I've got a 5-step system. It used to be a 4-step, it's now a 5-step. It's developing.
Yeah.
My 5-step system is called calm.
Mm,
And I'll just talk briefly about it so you have an understanding, and that your audience will have an understanding about it.
mm,
It's called calm. The first step in the system begins with letter C, and C stands for, believe it or not, calm. Because when you go to court to give evidence, you have to be calm and in control of your emotions. If you're not in control of your emotions, you can't give evidence. You just can't think when you're all over the place.
mhm.
So being calm and in control of your thoughts and feelings and behavior is the first step. Second step begins with letter A, and A stands for attitude. You have to have a fantastic attitude when you go into court. No matter how you're feeling, no matter how the judge is treating you, no matter how the barristers are treating you, no matter how anyone else is treating you, you have to have a fantastic attitude if you want to be seen to giving great evidence and give yourself the best chance of getting the result that you want at court.
Yeah.
So having a great attitude is super important. And if you don't go to court with a great attitude, you're helping the barristers cross-examine you. You're not helping yourself.
Mm,
The third step begins with letter L, and L stands for listening. Listening is such a key skill. But who do you listen to and who do you not listen to? Well, when you go to court, you have to listen to the judge, because the judge may tell you what to do. which you'll have to follow, and the judge may ask you some questions. The barrister, you'll have to listen to the barrister also, because the barrister will definitely ask you a number of questions.
Mm.
And if you can't listen, you can't answer the questions. You can't answer the questions, you can't give good evidence. And if you can't give good evidence, the chance of you getting the outcome you want is slim to non-existent. So listening is a very key skill that you have to learn to develop when you go to court, as in life. That's the third step. The fourth step begins with letter M, and that stands for mindful. When you give evidence and you're answering questions, you can't just blurt out the first thing that comes to you. You have to be mindful. You have to think about what you want to say. If you're working with children and it's about your child or a child, you have to think about giving evidence that's consistent with what's in the child's best interests. You have to give evidence which is consistent with the other evidence you've given, both verbal and written, in the proceedings. And you have to give evidence which is of a consistently high quality, so the judge values it more highly than anyone else. So that's about being mindful and giving great evidence. The fifth and final step also begins with letter M, and the M stands for mastery. And when you've developed mastery over the other four steps, the calm, the attitude, the listening, and the mindful, that's when you're in the best place to give the best evidence and maximize your chance of getting the outcome that you want and need at court.
Mm.
So that's the 5-step system. A lot of people obviously are concerned, worried about when you give it evidence that, you won't be able to express yourself. You're worried about being intimidated by the barristers or by another parent or by someone else at court or by the judge, and the judge might not listen to you. Everyone's got all sorts of fears and worries and concerns and doubts. But if you follow that 5-step system,
Mm-hmm.
it is a system. It doesn't just work for me. It works for anyone who follows the system and does the work, and they can get the best result from court.
Mm.
So that's it. And the best time they should do this, or should have done it, was yesterday. The next best time to do it is right here.
Yeah.
Because when they go to court, what I want to remind you and I remind your audience is that you're on your own. You don't want to be on your own without having the skills, learnt the skills that you need to defend yourself at court.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just say one more thing before I stop and allow you to
Mm.
ask
Go
any
ahead.
questions.
Yeah.
When you are out on the streets and someone attacks you, if someone attacks you either verbally or physically, you know how to defend yourself. You
Mm.
can either speak back or fight back or run and hide or get someone's help or call the police or whatever. But you know basically how to deal with that situation.
Mm.
How do you deal with it when you're in the witness box? Because make no mistake, you're being attacked. It's just not physical.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something I want to leave with your audience to think about, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't know when you're going to go to court.
Mm.
You don't know when something might happen. I mean, okay, if you're going through something with an ex-partner or something else, you have an idea that you're going to court. But sometimes things happen to you that you weren't expecting, and you have to go to court of it. It could be business, it could be other things, it could be personal, whatever. You
Yeah.
go to court, and you're in that arena, and you weren't expecting it. So having an understanding of how important this is for people, because the other thing that goes on is what happens when people leave court if they haven't got what they wanted.
Mm.
That's a whole new game. Remind me to speak about that briefly, just very briefly before we finish.
Yeah. Yeah. You go ahead. Talk about it. I'd
Well,
love to
it is.
know more.
It's just that if you've gone to court and you haven't got what you want, I mean, going to court is stressful as it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's daunting. It's frightening. But it's also that, as I said, the stakes are really, really high. So if you're going to court for your child, you're going to court for your life, or you're going to court for your finances or your home, the stakes are huge.
Yeah.
And if you don't get what you want, and on top of that, you're abused by barristers, and the judge doesn't believe you, or the judge doesn't go to another way, from the way you want, you leave court at rock bottom. and all you go is a downward spiral
Yeah.
because most people don't deal with that. They don't know how to deal with that. Where do they go with it from that?
Mm.
Where do they take that?
Mm-hmm.
Not let Many people don't go to counseling.
Mm.
Many men in particular don't do anything. Maybe women, some women, I don't know how many, maybe some women have their sisters or their girlfriends or whatever, they'll talk to about it. Men often don't.
Mm.
So, and even if you've got friends and you're a woman, you've got people to talk to, it's still a very difficult, traumatic experience that is very difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, a lot of people don't do anything. They just this downward spiral. They're just on a downward spiral, spiraling down to ill health or mental health or suicide.
Mm. Yeah. 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 It's difficult.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank
So
you.
it's just that I share that because there's not enough. I don't think there's enough evidence. There's not enough research on what happens to people when they go to court and they don't get what they want. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. So as we wrap up this episode, can you tell people what is your website? What social media platforms are you on?
I don't have a website currently. I used to have one, but I don't know why I didn't like it very much. um,
Yeah.
the social media platforms I'm on Facebook as under Michael Watson,
Mm.
and I post there regularly. I also have a Facebook group called Giving Evidence.
Okay.
So, if any of your audience needs to learn about giving evidence, needs to learn about managing cross examination,
Mhm.
needs to learn about how to put themselves over and present well at court, then just type in giving evidence in Facebook, and my group will come up. And at the moment, it's free. I'm still debating about whether I turn it into a private group or not. But at the moment, for the foreseeable future, for the next few weeks at least or months, it's probably going to be free.
Mhm.
Um, but sooner or later, I will make it a private group, and it'll still be private. You can may still be free, but I make it private. Eventually, I probably you know
Mhm.
make people pay for that in some way
Okay. That's
because there's
awesome.
a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of value in there that people need to see as valuable rather than just
Mhm.
free, really. So that's Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn as Michael Watson. I've also got an incredible witness newsletter on LinkedIn. So it's Michael Watson, or check out my Incredible Witness newsletter. There's a lot in there.
Mhm.
Um, on Instagram, I'm Michael240656.
Mhm.
Yeah, Michael240656 on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm just Family Court Coach, but I don't use it that much. But I'm still on
Yeah.
there, just casually. And well, Twitter's X in it now. So, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and on TikTok, yeah, I think I'm Family Court Coach. I think I'm Family Court Coach on TikTok, but I've only just started on TikTok, and I'm also on. So I'm on TikTok and I'm on YouTube. But the YouTube again, I've only started recently,
Yeah.
putting a lot of videos on there.
Yeah.
So there, that's where people can get hold of me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I have one last question for you though, as we wrap up. I asked every guest this. What is the meaning of life for you?
I think the meaning of life is trying to find out who I am, where I'm meant to be, what I'm meant to be doing.
Mhm.
I think to some extent, I know where I am and what I'm meant to be doing. I know what I'm meant to be doing, but there are other areas in my life that I've had to really work on.
Yeah.
And I'm still not quite there yet.
Mm.
Um, I had a trauma before that trauma when the child died. I had a trauma in my very early childhood. And I think that put me on the road to doing social work. But that trauma has impacted me all throughout my life.
Mhm.
And it's still there.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of fighting with it and somehow dealing with it.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It's I believe we give ourselves, we tell ourselves, we give ourselves um, the goal or the commitment or the vision or the we tell ourselves what we want to be, what we should be, what where we are, sort of thing.
Mhm.
Um, and we've got to give ourselves that sort of that or get that kind of clarity. I've got certain clarity. I've not got 100% clarity,
Mhm.
um, and I'm still working on that
Yeah.
bits of that to get to have all the clarity that I want and need for my life.
Mhm.
But it's a lot. It's a lot there, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know what I don't want, so that helps.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Michael, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being who you are, where you are, and the impact that you're making. It's needed in the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Bernadette. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate it.
You're welcome.